Happy Sunday, my people of the southern Cameroons. Happy Sunday, the great liberation warriors of Ambazonia. Today is Sunday, January 16, in the year 2020, and my name is John Akuro. Today, my people, I'm coming here for us to, break tradition. We need to break tradition today and launch into some kind of a pause in our movement to laugh. Why? Because laughter is also medicine. Laughter helps decongest our brains, decongest our minds, and then enable us to have a kind of fresh, a freshness, some kind of freshness that we really need, some kind of new air passing in our minds and our brains, enabling us to think better on how to recalibrate our liberation movement. But make no mistake, this laughter that I'm talking about is not just laughter out of the ordinary. It's laughter around the wonderful things that are happening, and that will have an impact, trust me, a very positive impact on our movement. An impact that is definitely going to, kind of help in shortening our trip to our destination, which is self-determination and total liberation. I know you're wondering, but what is he talking about here? Mr. Akuro, do you sometimes really get out of your mind? Or what is happening? Trust me, I say this because someone said sometimes that, John, can you stop laughing? Yes, we are talking very serious issues, very serious matters. But sometimes we need, to let out some of the air and enjoy, and enjoy some of the gains that we are making. And enjoy, the impact of what we are doing on the colonizer, who spends sleepless nights thinking that they are trying to outdo us. But in the end, everything that they do, they boomerang. Listen, my people. When I was preparing for this broadcast yesterday, I came across this. One of our brothers shared this, and I said, oh my goodness, how did he know that I was just looking for this? Because it's really interesting and amazing. He says, the closer the collapse of an empire, the crazier its laws. Again, this is Marcus Tullius Cicero. It says, the closer the collapse of an empire, the crazier its laws. Let's go ahead and begin to see. We already heard a lot of crazy laws, very crazy laws coming out of La Republique du Cameroun. They have to tax Njangi houses. They have to tax movement of finances, even between father and son or daughter, husband and wife, and everything. Like I said, soon they'll come and tell you that you have to pay tax on kisses, tax on smiles, tax on even the oxygen that you are inhaling, which is circulating freely. That shows you, my people of the southern Cameroons, that we are taking them, getting them exactly to the corner where we have always wanted them to be. Now listen, when this whole issue of AFCON hosting came, AFCON, will host, will not host, will host, will not host, might eventually not even host. Some people were like, gosh, they needed to host this AFCON at all costs so that they will prove a point. But sometimes a pot would dirty itself just because it boiled excessively. And there is an African proverb that says a pot that boils too much dirties itself. If the authorities of La Republique du Cameroun had taken time off to examine their circumstances correctly, they would never have gone into this venture. But, hell no, they wouldn't. Because that country has lived on make-believe. On make-believe. The real world has never factored before Mr. Paul Buea. That is why since 2016, he's still finding it so difficult to get his bearings. So complicated. Most of the tools he has used or he had used prior to 2016 have failed him. Divide and rule. That was the main tool, and it's still his only tool that he continues to use, divide and rule. No matter the number of times it fails him, he will continue to attempt just with that one. And now that in our movement, my people of Ambazonia, by day and by night, we are doing everything to insulate ourselves against that divide and rule. La Republique is getting more and more compounded. They have used all sorts of things. That system doesn't know how to solve problems. They don't solve problems. They don't even believe in solving problems. What do they believe in doing? In spraying perfume on the excrement. Just kill the odor, but the cause of the odor remains. That's what they have been. So I've never believed in solving problems, and so that is why every time they only keep struggling to portray a different view of what is. They want people to have a different thought of the real situation that really is. And so this AFCON was actually supposed to be that huge forest that should hide all the inadequacies of that country and hide the malaise that they are creating on a daily basis in the southern Cameroons. But unfortunately, this forest is without trees, or the leaves that were supposed to form the thick foliage of this outcome of this AFCON are inexistent. And so, rather than dampen the situation, they rather brought closer journalists, international journalists, who have not been shining the light on what is happening in the southern Cameroons closer to the scene of things. I'm a journalist, okay? Know who journalists are. They will not just come in to cover the AFCON. Hell no. While in there, they are looking at story ideas. They are looking at things that are happening. They are coming close contact with the local people the government has struggled for long to shield from getting into contact with any international visitors because they were afraid they would tell them the real situation. Today, you have myriad journalists in southern Cameroons. Of course, they too have to talk, they too have to move around. Although they have tried as much as possible to make movements difficult, but they are getting in contact with the people. They are listening to the people. People are telling them the real stories. People are giving them pictures from other parts that they can't visit. They are creating contacts. They are getting telephone numbers. Trust me, by the time this AFCON is over, and a lot of the journalists go back to their base, you see now a good lot of them will not forget about AFCON and get into what they call the reporter's diary. And when they get into the reporter's diary, that is where submarine of World War IV will begin emerging. Poop, 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 poop. So at the end of the day, you think you are really damaging, but you are blessing. This is true. And now again, La Republique du Cameroun thought that because of its battered image worldwide, the AFCON will come and do serious whitewashing. Oh, really? We all saw the empty stadia everywhere, not only in the southern Cameroons. But of course, in Limbe, it was most shouting, in Victoria, most shouting, because that is where they really wanted to prove a point. And because of this, the system is compounded. They've got to a place where a lot of foolishness is actually taking place now. That's what's making me to say, let's come here and laugh. Laugh because we are always expected to have the last laugh. And of course, we are beginning to have it. Let's see what is happening. Our noisy neighbors are becoming noisier. So let's go there a little. First, there is this one. This is a press release from the office of the Prime Minister of La Republique du Cameroun. At first, they were trying to do this, in a subterranean way. That is, under the tables, not to show to the visitors that they are really, that there's a real malaise about people going to the field of play to watch football. That there's a real malaise because people don't have money to buy tickets. That there's a real malaise because the people think that they have more important issues to address than an AFCON, create malaise because the people think that things are not going well and there is no point trying to use an AFCON to hide this. And so the government tried to use divisional officers, tried to use mayors, tried to use that, and it got to a point where it couldn't work. So they now had to say, well, let's not continue to saying that it will be shameful. Let's just go out there and do it. Whatever they say, they say. And that is why now, right from the office of the Prime Minister, a press release reads, on the instructions of the President of the Republic, the Prime Minister, head of government, informs the national community that during the days of the Total Energies AFCON 2021 matches, schools and lectures will go from 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Work will be from 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. These exceptional measures, which will effectively apply to the public sector from Monday 17 January 2022 to Friday February 4, 2022, aims at enabling Cameroonians to take an active part in this major continental tournament. Now look at this, or continental event. Look at this. Cameroonians love football. There's no mistake about this. I mean Cameroonians, even Ambazonians, we all will love football. I mean so seriously that you don't need to start taking measures and all whatnot to cause people to get interested. But this disenchantment that you are seeing today is telling. It's a message that's being transmitted, not only to the authorities, but to the rest of the world, that it is not well. That it is not well. And so there is no point trying to do business as usual. In normal circumstances, tickets for the various matches would have been selling out days before the days of the matches. Of course, because the people like sports. They like football especially. Football was almost like a religion. And the government of Mr. Buea exploited this over and over the years without necessarily putting in the necessary resources to develop the sport to the point where it should serve as an opium, a complete opium to the masses. They always wait until the last minute to try to see how they can use that to cover up certain things. But this time around, the people said, you can fool some of the people some of the time. Oh, you can fool all of the people some of the times. You can fool some of the people some of the times. But you cannot fool all of the people all of the times. I think I got it right this time around. That thought is not of me though. So my people, this time around, the people of the Republique du Cameroun determined that with the meager resources they have, because World Bank statistics show that at least 48% of the people in that country live below the poverty lines. This means almost 5 out of every 10 people that you see in that country don't have up to $1. $1. And what is $1? You're talking about 500 something in CFA. But trust me, when they say below, it means below. Because there are a lot of them who cannot afford 200 CFA francs a day. That is less than 50 cents. So therefore, they do the checks and balances and they say, my little savings that I have, first, if I have to send money to a friend to buy a ticket to go to the field, that money will be taxed because it will go through mobile money. It will be taxed as I'm sending and it will be taxed as it's collecting. So at the end of the day, he gets nothing. What is the use? A good lot of them made all this mathematics, all this arithmetic. And they say, but by the way, there are too many people in dungeons here and there and all whatnot. And what the heck is happening? So the people are showing their real selves. People say, no, it's true that it is football, but for now, hold on. And now the government takes this measure. So, okay, this is partial public holidays. Partial holidays, as you can see. Now working half day. Although they say will apply only to the public sector, of course the pressure is going to get into the private sector, which is even almost inexistent. Now, do you know the cost of such holidays? It's unimaginable. I mean, the cost of such holidays is unimaginable on the economy. That's number one. And then next, even after saying, okay, stay home because we want you on the fields of play. When they stay home, do they really go to the field of play? Hell no. That's why from there, they have this other measure. This is the Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea. My people of the Southern Cameroons. It's aching, disturbing, and shocking, and even embarrassing to me because this is in the Southern Cameroons. Because at this point, the reaction is different. It's not like the other way they say, okay, don't go to work and all, and then find your time and go to the field of play. Here at the University of Buea, look at this. The Vice Chancellor says notice to academic and support staff. That you're talking here to PhD holders, to doctors, associate professors, and all of those people. These are people who are the think tank of the society. These are people who are supposed to be, the top of the top. People who should deserve a lot of respect. Hell no. No. Like I pointed out ago, the end of an empire is signaled by its kind of policies. You see, all academic and support staff of the University of Buea are informed that buses will be available to transport them to Limbe to watch the matches of Group F on Sunday, that's today, January 16. It is worth noting that entrance into the stadium is free. However, staff will be required to take an on-site rapid test for COVID-19 and wearing of masks is mandatory. Departure from Buea has been fixed for 11:30 a.m. from the health unit of the main campus. Staff are reminded to come with their identification paper. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Cry the beloved country. Oh my goodness. Cry the beloved country. When you make yourself bananas, monkeys will eat you. When you make yourself what? Banana, monkey will eat you. Even as I'm talking here now, they were already being carted in buses, or they were carted already in buses. University lecturers, professors, and associate professors like children. Because although the Vice Chancellor did not put it on that notification, I received a call from one of the lecturers who told me, crying, I could hear his voice sobbing. Mr. Kuro, can you imagine this? And they say, if you don't show up, you will be sanctioned. And this sanction may get right up to the point of you being tagged, being labeled Ambazonia. So now, the point is blackmail. If you don't come to go to the field and be ferried in a bus like school children being taken to an excursion, you will be tagged Ambazonia. And of course, the next consequence is known to all of us. You will find yourself in a dungeon because they will say you are an Ambazonian and your refusal to go to the field to watch football was tantamount to beginning an insurrection. Yay! That is where we are, my people. We told these people over and over. That's why I said, let's laugh a bit. Because they sat and they looked and they said, it doesn't involve us. We are not concerned. A good lot of them. But today, see how they're being humiliated. These are lecturers and professors that are being treated like people, like common folks who are being regarded like people who can't even afford to drive their own cars from Buea to Victoria. From Buea to Victoria is about 15 minutes drive. 15 minutes. 15 minutes drive. Some of them even live in Victoria and drive to school in Buea. Today, they are telling them, even if you come in your car, park it. They need to load you into those buses. The reason is they have to do roll call. They say, Professor Leke Ivor, present sir, jump in. Professor Mbaakum Silvanus, present sir, jump in. Professor this, jump in. Doctor this, jump in. And then all of you will load inside there, even with the planktons. Everybody, they take your name. It's free of charge. Gate fee is free of charge. Yet, they also have to transport you to the place. Transport to is free of charge. So when you get to this level, you understand the degree of desperation. And this thing is happening before the very eyes of the international media. Hip, hip, hip. I said, please, pardon me, I said earlier that is for us to laugh. Sometimes we need this fun because we need our brains to reboot. This is amazing. I said, all of this is happening before the very eyes of the international media. It is not being relayed to them on social media. No, no, no. They are witnessing it themselves. They are seeing it for themselves. If anyone, anywhere they ever thought you could do anything to damage the image or the reputation of the Republique du Cameroun, you are a non-starter compared to what is unfolding right now. So they invited the international media to come watch them do this to their university lecturers, do this to their professors. Don't get me wrong. It didn't end there. So don't think I'm stopping there. I'm moving on. And so, after the University of Buea, we have the Buea Council. Here, this one might not have known how to polish the language. So, I mean, here the gloves were simply removed. And you can see for ourselves. The gloves here were simply removed. The mayor of the Buea Council, service note, in view of the upcoming Day 2 encounter of the ongoing Total Energies AFCON 2021 between Gambia and Mali, slated for Sunday, 16 January 2022 at the Limbe Municipal Stadium, and in line with the instructions of His Excellency, the Governor of the Southwest Region, all staff of the Buea Council are expected to assemble at the Buea Council chambers at 11 a.m. for onward transportation to Limbe. Service heads are requested to carry out roll calls and forward same to the Chief of Cabinet, Buea Council. Considering the importance of this exercise, attendance is mandatory. Treat this with utmost importance. Oh, wow. Wow. Did you hear that? This is Sunday. This is even the magic here. This is Sunday. Sunday in Southern Cameroon is a sacred day. People get up in the morning, they go to church. By this 11 that they're saying, a lot of people are still in church. People get up in the morning, they go to church. When they come back from church, they have their various community meetings where they will sit to discuss about community development. Since the government, the colonial government of the Republique du Cameroun, does not ensure the development of our communities, this is where people sit to take these decisions. And these are not children. These are fathers, mothers, family heads being reduced like this. I mean, being reduced like this to rubble before their very eyes. Should anyone remind them that they are fully under colonial administration? Of course, this is clear. Before everybody's eyes. If it has never dawned on you, my people, that we are living in strange times, and that we need to do everything we have to do to go back home, this is the moment for you to see. There was another one. I simply didn't lay hands on it earlier enough when I was coming into the studios. But I know you have seen it because all of these things are circulating on social media. Addressed to the Director General of CDC and asking him to make sure 3,000 workers of the corporation are ferried to the field. Not only will you not work, not only are you not allowed to go to your place, not only is it free, but you are not free not to go. Did you get that? It is free. Then you no longer have to pay anything, but you are not free to decide whether to take advantage of it or not. Because they recognize even that making entry even free of charge, people will still not go. That is why they have to move to the next level. Look, my people, again, it goes even worse. This is Manauda Malachi, and you look at this tweet. This is right on Twitter now. I mean, on Twitter. It's not anywhere else. It's got to a point where it's an emergency. They have to do everything to get people into the stadia. By whatever means, they don't care again about what effect it has on the image of the country. Soon they will not say again that people in the diaspora will destroy the image of the country because they themselves are doing that right now. If anybody has ever asked, do they violate the rights of the people? Do they touch the rights? You can see it here. Manachi, look at this. Was 10 a.m. today, Sunday, January 16, 2022. He says, as part of our support for the Indomitable Lions during their march tomorrow at 5 p.m., we are making available 300 tickets, 300 free tickets to the stadium to help soldiers. A focal point has been designated for this purpose, and departure will be organized from the Ministry of Public Health. Again, they will lump people together like sardine and everything to carry to the field of play. Of course, this is something that has been happening. The world might just have been oblivious to this. The world might simply not have known that La République du Cameroun is a country of make-believe, that there's nothing that is real in that place. Not even elections, nothing. I shouldn't take a lot of our time going to start breaking down things. This is who they have been all along. All along. But again, happily, this is an opportunity for the rest of the world to take note. My only worry, and I think it should also worry Southern Cameroonians, especially the people of the northern zone, that this is the time when we expected someone like Fonchomitang, the president of the so-called Northwest House of Chiefs, to mobilize all the chiefs to get into a number of buses and be driven like school children to Bafoussam, to Coercion, to go and watch the matches as a morceau de soutien, the head of state. But Fonchomitang is nowhere, and nobody is saying anything. Does that House of Chiefs have a vice president? Does it have a secretary general? Does it have a staff? That House of Chiefs, does it have members? And none of them is coming up to wonder why their president has not been seen anywhere for over 2 months now. They're not rising up to wonder why he's not around to mobilize them. To mobilize them, Fonchomitang. To mobilize them, to bring them sardine and bread and put them in buses to go to Bafoussam, to Coercion, to go and watch football. The people of Bambalang are silent. What is happening? This man had no following. He has no following. Nobody. Why am I not hearing anything? Even CRTV is saying nothing about Fonchomitang, and football is just going on normally like that. The stadia are empty, where he's supposed to pull the crowds of funds together to take them to go and watch. Oh no. But poor Mingo Gogomo, I don't know why you are silent. What is happening? No, please. I mean, this is please, I'm just keeping it real, you know. Just trying for us to be factual and real. Again, remember, I said at the beginning, this is a very relaxed Sunday afternoon, and so let's be having some fun. But I think Fonchomitang should be called to go and mobilize. Mobilize. Now, this is the most interesting part of it. The most interesting part of it. That they have forgotten that when they take children from school straight to the football field, what will happen is the children will be in their school uniforms. And so because of the blindness of their minds and their focus only on making sure there are some people some sign of life, that there is some sign of life in the fields, they just go, open school gates. They don't care whether children were taking exams or they're taking what. Just cut them out, push them into trucks, and to the field of play. They don't even bother that they're in uniform. And these children met a very, very pleasant surprise in Bafoussam. Just listen to them. I will do some little translation for those who don't understand French.
Les élèves qui, pour la plupart, ont séché les cours, tournent en boucle ici, ne savent plus à quel sens se vouer. Depuis le matin, où ils sont arrivés ici, à l'esplanade du stade Municipal de Bafoussam, ils n'arrivent pas à accéder à l'intérieur pour regarder le match.
C'est pas normal.
On arrête de composer ce matin.
C'est pas normal.
Arrivé, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? On vous dit de faire quoi?
On fait le texte, on nous appelle d'entrer.
Depuis 9 heures. Ils disaient qu'on va d'abord te tester, on a d'abord te filmer, on va même te laver. Des fois là-bas, où c'est quoi dans mes oreilles là? Ils font, oui, c'est tout la même chose, non? Ils tournent. Moi, je dis à mon frère qu'il n'y a pas le don ici au Cameroun. Moi, je connaissais que ça devait toujours faire comme c'est en train de faire ici.
La plupart de ces supporters qu'on a transportés dans les différentes villes de la région de l'Ouest poireautent ici à l'esplanade du stade Municipal de Bafoussam.
Bon, on nous a pris à partir de la pelouse à la place de fête pour arriver ici. Oui. Qui paraît, depuis nous sommes en train d'attendre, ne veulent pas nous ouvrir les portes au stade.
Allez au stade, vous allez entrer gratuitement. Nous sommes là, on souffre.
On est parti de Bafoussam à la mairie rurale de Bafoussam à 10h. Nous sommes arrivés ici à 10h30. Bien, il est à presque 14h et on est posté pour vivre l'événement. Mieux, on aurait dû nous laisser là où on était et on devait voir ça à la télé.
De la pression, de l'adrénaline qui montait ici, sans chance de la vérification des tickets, ont été obligés de céder à cette pression populaire. Vous voyez derrière moi comment les gens courent pour accéder dans ce stade. Regardez cette rencontre entre le Sénégal et la Guinée.
C'est bon. Attends un peu.
Cette partie de la barrière et autres matériels ont été saccagés par ce public.
Well. I'm sure you had some fun too there. For those who don't understand French, these children are frustrated. Frustrated because a good lot of them were brought in, from very far off neighborhoods in Bafoussam. I mean, very far off neighborhoods. From Mairie Rural to Kwekong, if you're driving, it will take you, if the road is open, it will take you between 30 and 45 minutes. Those who were brought in from Bangswa, those who were brought in from Buea, those who were brought in from all over, and they come and they dump them out there under the hot sun. And then when they get there, they start telling them, oh, you first of all have to do COVID test. And after doing this COVID test, like you heard the young man say, that they even said that some of them, they maybe have to give them baths, and maybe have to bathe them before they get into the field. And then one of them screamed, he said, I've always said it, that this Cameroon government can never ever give you anything for free like that. There is always a trap somewhere. But just look at that. Just look at that. And then in the end, they are so frustrated, angry because they have brought them there. They're not even getting into the field of play. There's so much. Finally, it becomes a free for all. You saw the way they were just now trooping without any other order. So no COVID tests finally are done. No COVID tests finally are done. Of course, you can see it. No screening, nothing. Of course, there was no point for any tickets because the tickets, have been prescribed. And so this is what La République du Cameroun needs to do in order at least to have people cheering players in the field of play. In Cameroon, the Cameroon, which is a football-loving nation, number one. These are the signs of the times, my people. Now, when countries want to host tournaments of this magnitude, it is because they are looking at the benefits that will come as a result of that hosting. The economic benefits, most especially. That is what pushes a lot of countries to send delegations upon delegations to lobby, to the various countries to lobby in order to attract the hosting, because of what they consider to be the economic benefits of such hosting. But with the case of La République du Cameroun, are they really going to tap any benefits out of this? What is going to be the impact of this tournament? This is where it becomes very interesting for us Ambazonians. This is where it becomes very interesting for us Southern Cameroonians. Just take a look at this. The organizers of the World Cup that's coming up in Russia, 2023, have predicted that the total economic impact of the tournament could be as high as $30.8 billion. This is in dollars. Now, the anticipated effect is created by what? By spending on construction and general investment. Of course, this is why you want to host, because there will be a lot of construction, there will be a lot of investments, and indeed, the case often made that hosting a World Cup, just like hosting an AFCON, because it's the same thing, or any other major sporting event, can boost a nation's economy by attracting tourists. attracting tourists, initiating important infrastructure projects, and showcasing countries and cities as good places to do business. That is, to attract foreign investment. And in this case, what countries look for more are foreign direct investments. But of course, the cost of achieving those noble goals appears sometimes to outweigh the economic benefits. Not in every case. In the case of La Republique du Cameroun, honestly, we have looked at what has happened. We have looked at, the run-up to this tournament this far. What infrastructure benefits have they had? What? If one thing, it has not only drained, it is draining, and it will continue to drain resources seriously, and it is important that these resources are drained, because these are resources that are generally assigned to wreaking havoc in the southern Cameroons. So, with the cost of occupation growing tremendously, and this drain by the AFCON, this financial drain by the AFCON, I'm sure you are beginning to think of the consequences. I'm sure you are beginning to think of the reason the people of the southern Cameroon should not only be happy about this, but be getting ready, be working very hard to tap into this opportunity. And of course, there are ways we can do that. Look at this. This is still within the ambit of the benefits of hosting a tournament like this one, be it World Cup. Tourism, like I pointed out earlier, is often cited as a major benefit of hosting the FIFA World Cup or any cup. But the argument is that the World Cup is a reason, or in this case, put it AFCON, is the reason why people from different parts of the world flock to the host country. As a result, the local hotels and restaurants make money, and the economy is boosted overall. Now, I was looking at the statistics. First, CAF limited tremendously the size of the delegations of each of the countries, the 24 countries that are participating in the AFCON. CAF limited the sizes of delegations tremendously. I mean, I'm not sure there's any delegation that has up to 100 people. Not any. I mean, aside of the football squads and the staff, I'm not sure there's anyone that's over 100 people. CAF limited that seriously, and Cameroon accepted this condition because they desperately wanted to host. And so if you look at this, with those 24 squads, how many thousands of people did flock into Cameroon? The country momentarily even, decided that they were suspending visa fee. Yeah, Cameroon said that they were suspending visa fee to attract people into the country. But the early indications show that it didn't work. Not only were there COVID considerations, the international media, with southern Cameroonians, used every tool, including Twitter and everything, to sensitize people around the world that it didn't make sense to embark on that journey. Consequent on this, that's why you see the stadium empty. So, is the tourism boost that was expected, is it going to be a reality? The answer is no. I got someone to talk to people who, invested in businesses, hotels, restaurants, and everything around those places. And what they are seeing, especially in Fako, where there are a lot of restrictions, curfews, and all whatnot, is there's so much regret in the air. Yeah. The tourism boost was not expected. It did not come to pass. Look at this again. Now, Cameroon may hang its hopes on the fact that they need to do everything. Of course, we have seen that they are doing everything with penalties coming in here and there and all or not to ensure that they somewhat get all the way to lift the trophy. What will the country receive if they lift this trophy? $5 million. That $5 million will give you approximately 3-point-something billion in CFA. Of course, this is just a little drop of water in an ocean, considering just the Olympic Stadium. Just the Olympic Stadium that is estimated to have, gobbled almost 300 billion CFA. I mean, almost 300 billion CFA. So, If Cameroon were even to go all the way and lift the trophy, or come second place, they will have $2.75 million. $2.75 million, just say that's close to 2 billion CFA. But if they get the trophy, it's just slightly above 3 billion CFA franc. So is it really worth the trouble? Because just the money they're spending now on not only getting people to watch by not only prescribing gate fee, but having to mobilize people here and there, transport people up and down, the logistics, force people, use security operatives to get people to the field, just that is going to be well over 15-20 billion, knowing how the country operates. Because the Minister of Public Health already asked for a chunk of billions to enable him to do some of the things that we have read here. To be on Twitter and they're announcing that they are buying free tickets for people. The Ministry of Territorial Administration, of course, at Tanga Ponji, who was initially out of the game and out of the grubbing, suddenly found his opportunity when the field became empty. And so he was solicited to make sure he uses the administrative channels, the governors, the SDOs, the DOs, and so billions again at that end. The Minister of Higher Education has to use the universities and all whatnot, billions from that end. The various area councils, don't forget, the councils are no longer under the Ministry of Territorial Administration. They are under the Ministry of, decentralization or whatsoever that I know, billions. So all of that, the cost is enormous, really enormous. And look at this again. In terms of tourists, Cameroon is generally described as Africa in miniature. What does this mean? This means that every other feature that tourists should be interested in around Africa is found in Cameroon alone. All. Go to East Africa, the features of East Africa in Cameroon. The features of West Africa in Cameroon. The features of North Africa in Cameroon. The feature of South Africa, Southern Africa in Cameroon. Feature of Central Africa in Cameroon. But in 2020, the country managed to secure the visits of only 682,000 tourists. Someone said there's even so much for the country. But don't forget that the World Tourism Organization places a threshold for a country to be considered a tourist destination. You have to register at least 500,000 people a year. And that's a whole Cameroon at just slightly above that threshold. And they are hoping that they will tap benefits from hosting an African Cup of Nations. No infrastructure, nothing. It doesn't end there. This whole thing even gets dampened when we listen or when we watch what Wikipedia says. And trust me, when you hear that 680,000, you think it's too much. Countries like Tanzania get well over 45% of their GDP from tourism. Tanzania, Namibia, Botswana, even Kenya get a lot of wealth from tourism. And they have potential, but not as much as Cameroon. Now, this is what the United Nations World Tourism Organization says. That in the past 68 years, or rather, currently, 1.4 billion international people go around the world as tourists yearly. Annually, 1.4 billion people. And out of these 1.4 billion people, you can only secure 680 or so thousand. And Wikipedia explains it further here. So if somebody heard AFCON in Cameroon or whatnot, and then you are in Brazil or you are in Australia and you say, oh no, maybe that's an opportunity to go. You go to Wikipedia or you go to the internet. Let me search, and then you come there. Impediments to further growth of the tourism sector in Cameroon includes poor transport infrastructure and corrupt officials who may harass visitors for bribes. Really? Tourism in Cameroon, you can see it there. Oh no. They say no, there's no point. There's no point. Therefore, investing senselessly, they're doing like this, hoping that they're going to tap, resources and everything, that they're going to get economic benefits and all not to help them to hold on to Ambazonia. Oh, hell no. My people of the southern Cameroons. This is why La République du Cameroun already started cutting salaries for retired workers. Of course, I demonstrated that in one of my broadcasts here. This is why La République du Cameroun is imposing taxes and doubling them on electronic transfers. What do you mean? You send me money you have already sent, but by sending you pay taxes. And I receive it, but for me to catch it, I pay taxes. Even the various Njangi groups, wherever you are meeting, your house, you say, okay, this is my money I've worked. I've paid taxes on it already and I've earned. This is my own share. So I'm saving, I'm putting this, you put that, you put that. We gather it to give it to one person to go and help him do something. And the person will give us back. And it is without any interest. You have to pay taxes on this or whatnot. It's a direct consequence of this kind of misguided policies. And my people, don't ask me the net effect of all of this on the Southern Cameroon's liberation movement. One, we watch Mr. Buea's talks all over the place a lot of time crying they no longer have resources. Crying they no longer have what to use in enslaving us. Crying they don't even have food anymore. A good lot of them now depend on harassing people in our various communities to get food. Of course, I read a story in on Timescape magazine the Timescape magazine website talking about the takeover in Ndu and how Mr. Paul Bia's talks arrived at the scene, met cars packed, and the passengers were not in the car. And what did they do? They simply emptied the cars of all the contents and put everything in their truck and drove away. That is how they survive. And it's going to be worse because post-AFCON, the treasuries are going to be extremely dry. Trust me on that. And my people, I said a while ago, look, this is what Faith Pandor says. Sometimes the best thing to do is say nothing at all and let God fight your battle for you. Just like they say amen, I also say amen. Because this AFCON La République wanted so much because they thought it was going to be the best opportunity to show to the rest of the world that all is well, everything is normal, and that they're even in full control in Ambazonia, particularly in Fako, has turned against them. Fully. It has turned against them. So this is why, my people, going forward, they're going to be facing a lot of difficulties. This is why we need to take this opportunity and synergize, as I've always said. And I will continue to dove my heart to our people in Buea for understanding this, to synergize. And I'm calling on people in all other counties in Southern Cameroon to do the same. This Monday, January 17, I will be back on this platform for us to have an important discussion about the role of the diaspora in liberation movements like ours, and the kind of relationship that should exist between leadership in the diaspora in our movement and the people who are on ground zero. This is very fundamental because I've heard a lot of things people say here and there and all whatnot. We have to be pragmatic. We have to be pragmatic. Unknown to a good lot of us, statistics that are available from the actors on the ground are clear that almost 70% of the resources they use on the ground comes from the ground, not from the diaspora. A clear indication that among us in the diaspora, only about 30%, I think less, because a lot of the other one that goes from the diaspora comes from individuals. A lot of the money collected in the diaspora, less than 30% gets to the ground. We need to have this conversation. We need to be able to discuss about this and come to a clear understanding. Because going forward, we need better organization. And we have, my people, to make sure we don't soon begin by creating a conflicting kind of relation between the diaspora and the ground. I will go out on this image. I know you have seen it over and over. This picture is circulating on social media. It's been circulating. I had refused to talk about it, but today I said, let me mention it. Please look. This is one of ours who decided in the heart of the struggle to go and buy land in Yaoundé to build his house. You can see it there. He bought, he started building and everything. When he got to this point, what happened? This other picture says where the structure is now. It shows how much progress he's making in building. The people came back to remind him that he's a Southern Cameroonian, that he's an Ambazonian. My people, this case is not isolated. There are a lot of people, like this brother or sister, who are still dreaming, who are living in a strange world, who simply don't understand the dynamics of what is going on right now. You, by that action, are one of those people who are trying to make sure we never get freedom. That is what we heard the woman from France talking in the European Union Parliament point to. Actions like those ones, the kind of message that they translate. And when it happens like this, you expect us not to start sympathizing with you. Hell no. Me, I won't. I'm very clear and categorical about that. I won't. Because we have been talking over and over and over and reminding our people, freedom has a price. And we must be ready to pay that price if we must get that freedom. I guess we've had, our field day. I guess we've had an interesting moment. I guess we at least had the opportunity to have a gentle laugh today. Of course, it's also medicine, so that it will help, clear our brains, clear the cache of 2021 and liberate the space in our brains so we reflect better on how to make 2022 even more eventful and how to make sure we tap the benefits from, the fallout. And I call it the fallout, not economic benefit, the fallout of that AFCON in la Republique du Cameroun. Because by fallout, I mean the disaster that is unleashing on the economy of la Republique du Cameroun. Have a nice rest of your Sunday. And to God, as always, be the glory.